All right. Good morning, everybody. Today we have a really, really great Ask a Recruiter session. We are going to be talking about T-style cover letters. And so let's just be honest. I feel like Daniela, I feel like people hate cover letters. Like writing them is stressful. It's super hard. It's really difficult to write about yourself. But if you use a T-style cover letter, it gives you a really good framework for mapping out what you want to say. It feels like something that not many people are familiar with. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about T-style cover letters, but Daniela, what do you think?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Allison. And I want to say also, welcome everybody, and thank you for having me here to describe this. You might not have heard T-style cover letters. They come with a couple of different names, actually. T form, uh, T letter, just like that. As well as T style. So perhaps the terminology is a little different. It is a little bit of a different way. It's not that new, and I've seen T style cover letters from many years ago. But I'm hoping after today's presentation, you get a better idea of how it can work for you and why it can be really useful. Especially if you're doing a number of applications and want to customize your cover letter for each one. Hopefully, after today, you'll get a good sense of how to build this T style cover letter, and really also why it's so important, how it can really work for you. And yeah.
Well, we'll go ahead and jump on in. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, please send them through. If you have not joined our free Slack community, please do so. We answer all sorts of questions in there, cover letters, resumes, you name it. We'll talk about it. But let's get on to the show. Daniela, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm all set to go.
Let's do it.
And well, yeah, let's get into a little bit more about why this T style cover letter can really work for you. Why do you want to use this? There's so many different templates you can use for cover letters, but why a T style in particular? One of the things I really wanted to hopefully help you understand is that this kind of cover letter is very readable. And not only just for yourself and the hiring manager, but anybody who really wants to understand what you're trying to convey in your cover letter. It's also really versatile across a lot of different platforms. You could use it even as a way to summarize some information on LinkedIn, but different kinds of application tracking systems. A TSA cover letter really comes through in terms of being visually appealing and efficient. A big part, and what I really wanted to hone in as being a recruiter or understanding what hiring managers are going through when they're reading cover letters is a lot of times they spend less than 1 minute. I think 1 minute is generous. But usually I spend about less than a minute reading the cover letter. So there's not a lot of time to really focus in on what you want to convey in your cover letter. So using this T style really can showcase all of your skills and capabilities at a quick glance. And quick meaning people are going, especially hiring managers, are really going to look at, what is this person trying to convey in their cover letter? Do they have the skills and qualifications, that match this job? So there's definitely an advantage in terms of time and readability with a cover letter. I made this little graphic to hopefully get across the T style of it. This is my very simple graphic, but what is the T style? It's a sort of like a section, a T chart section where you're going to have two columns, and on the left-hand side of the column, you are going to have the job requirements, and the right-hand side, you're going to list your qualifications, that match those requirements. So it's almost like a matching exercise where on one side you're putting the key requirements for the job, and on the other side you're putting your skills, your experiences, your qualifications that match. So it makes it very, very easy for someone to say, oh, this job, one of the key duties is to have, X experience or this kind of skill. And here is this person's, qualifications that match that. So it makes it really, really is easy. you're creating the framework. The T style is the framework to show how your experiences and qualifications match those key duties for the job. And I wanted to give a little example as well of what I just talked about, this 2-column layout. I use a very generic, set of example, and you can see on one side the person wrote position requirements. You can write job requirements, different things, and on the other side they wrote their qualifications. And one of the first ones is interesting. They picked on one of the position requirements was the educational requirements, or there could be certifications or other professional requirements. But I think that's an interesting one to put, as that may not be immediate. You may not immediately think that that would be an important thing to point out. But for certain roles, that may be a really important, requirement that you show that you match. So they put their qualifications right to the other side. And then other aspects in terms of minimum years of experience, working with different types of teams and different, processes and analytical skills. And I will say, as someone who, has read many cover letters, this is fantastic. It's really easy to see how this person's resume and the qualifications from their resume matches the position requirements. So this visual clarity is, it just makes the cover letter a much better format and vehicle to showcase, how your skills are matching the job requirements. And also you can customize this a little bit. You don't have to list out all the job requirements. Maybe you want to just highlight on a few, but these bullet points really help address how you are matching those job requirements. It also demonstrates a little bit of your ability that you did the research on the company and the job, and also how you've tailored your resume or your general qualifications on how you match what the job is looking for, that job description. That's a really important consideration, especially for a cover letter. And especially for a resume also, is, sometimes when you're applying for a job, you'll hear that, tailor your resume, according to the job description. Same thing with the cover letter. And this T style really allows you to do that in a very efficient manner. It also encourages brevity, and I italicize that for a reason, and really focuses on relevant qualifications. Again, going back to one of the first slides and talking about, spending a short amount of time, less than a minute in, reading a cover letter, that ability to be more brief or succinct in describing your qualifications goes a long way. And I have a graphic to describe, to show that. On one side is a very typical cover letter, has a lot of good information. And on the other side is a T chart. It's not filled in, but it's sort of a template, but just to give you an idea of what it would look like. It would take me a while to get through the cover letter on the left. And I would have to definitely do a little searching to find where that person's experiences and qualifications match, the job for which, I might be hiring. Look on the right-hand side for the T style. How much clearer, how many, how few the words are in terms of just word count. It's a huge difference if you just did the words versus 300, 400 words versus 100, maybe 125. Very big difference, and it will take a little tailoring to your part. You will have to focus on saying what it needs to be said, for this particular your job and how you qualify for it. So, but in terms of someone who might have to read a lot of cover letters, the T style is well worth it and well appreciated. It also allows for reducing a lot of misinterpretation. If somebody has a lot of general skills, I might not be able to see exactly how they match with some of the key job duties. But if you use the T style, it becomes very easy to understand, oh yeah, this person has hands-on skills with this very important job qualification. And you really can focus on what matters most for the job. That does require a little research on your part in terms of understanding the job description, and understanding, what you believe is important for it. But it really helps you communicate how you are matching the skills and qualifications, and putting that up front and center, in the cover letter. One thing you may not have considered is the T-style cover letter is great if you are, moving into a different field, if you're moving into a different industry, and you really want to highlight your transferable skills. Again, by using this format, you can really match some of the job descriptions, job duties with your qualifications. So people may look at your resume and look at your job experience, say, oh, this person has been in, say they've been in academia for a very long time and they'd like to move into a biotech industry job, and say, wow, why are they not, they'd like to move into this new field. Instead of trying to guess how their skills, would apply to this entirely new area, the T-style cover letter will make it very easy for someone to see, oh yeah, they have the skills. Just because they came from a new industry or new area, they still have the skills needed for this job, and the T-style cover letter will make it very easy for someone to see that. Another part that we need to talk about is that applicant tracking systems are there and they are being used. And again, with this T-style format, it makes it very easy for these systems to pick out and identify relevant keywords, which is important in a lot of these systems. So not only is it readable and efficient for human eyes, it's also great for the for the software and these systems as well. It's also very versatile. You can use it for a number of different industries. I mentioned academia. I showed one on, someone who was working more in marketing. I've seen T-style cover letters being used for creative, creative jobs, and I think that its versatility is also one of the strong points. You can modify the table and the format, for the job, but caveat: not all companies prefer this style, and the only way you may know is that they would describe that you need to have certain certain things mentioned in the cover letter, or you get a sense that perhaps the company would like a more traditional style cover letter. You might have to make your best guess on that, but do double check, with the company, or with the role in particular, if the T-style, cover letter is applicable. But in general, this style is, very versatile and can be used for a number of different areas. This is my summary, and I love this picture because it's almost like a good picture of me trying to read a lot of cover letters. Yes, I do wear reading glasses, so this is an important consideration, for me. And for many people, I would say, one of the more important things I wanted to hone in on and end with is that this T-style allows for a lot of readability, a lot of clarity, and not only that, it saves a lot of time. It provides a very structured format, easy to change and adapt and tailor for each job, that to which you're applying. And also, it really helps someone know and see that you also understand what are the important parts of the job, or the key job duties, because you are highlighting them in that chart, a part of the T-style cover letter, and then matching your qualifications for that. So it makes it easy, it makes it readable, and really showcases how you're tailoring your skills and qualifications for the job. So I hope this gives a lot better insight about what a T-style cover letter is and how it can work for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniela. So I think that the T style cover letter is a really great idea. And I think that what it really does is even as maybe as you're tailoring your resume, or maybe you're thinking through like, am I qualified for this job? Having that list of, what they're looking for and how you can apply it to your own experience, I think is a helpful thing to do just in the initial phases of mapping out like, how would I sell myself in this and how do I market these skills? So it seems like a good practice to break down a job description into what would be a T style cover letter, even if you're not going to use that cover letter.
Absolutely, Allison. You hit the nail right on the head in terms of sort of like a side benefit, of preparing for for this type of cover letter. And sometimes, a good exercise would be to go through all of the job duties. And I know for some job descriptions there could be many, like 10. And that's a lot. And then go through the exercise of matching, your skills and qualifications and describing, how you match those key job duties. Even that is a good exercise because, using this T-style cover letter, you can't write paragraphs, because it kind of defeats the purpose of using the style. So you really have to hone in on how am I going to communicate, how my skills, match that job qualification in a way that's, one sentence, maybe two sentences at max, but really maybe like one sentence or perhaps a phrase, so that someone can understand, and can see that, oh yeah, you have that ability, you have that match, and you might want to go through all the job duties and then really decide, based on your judgment, based on your understanding of the job and the company, that I think these are the top three or maybe the top four. Skills that I really want to highlight in my cover letter and how I match that. So you're right; it's a fantastic exercise, to do in general.
I mean, we have a little bit of time, so we can chase that thread a little bit. I guess I am thinking about it in the way that what I would potentially do is open up like an Excel or Google Sheets doc and almost copy the requirements into one column and put my notes on the other. And then as you're applying to multiple jobs, you can kind of look back and be like, okay, well, I don't need to recreate the wheel every time. Like I know the job requirements were similar here, so this is what I'm going to say on this one. And then at the bottom for my tabs, I would have it have the information about the job. And, I'd include the link in the sheet and everything so that if you do get the call back to come in and interview, you've got your notes. You kind of are like, oh, yep, that's what I was going to say. You can refresh everything and really dig in. But, rather than having to do your whole cover letter every single time you want to apply for a job, start looking at, what are the commonalities between all the jobs, just like between everything that's listed in the job description, and build out your sort of high level bullet points around that, and then just keep a running list. That's what I would do, but I don't know, I mean, just seems like a lot of work otherwise to go through and do this every single time, when quite often a lot of what's on a job description is going to be on multiple job descriptions looking for something in the same arena.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was going to say I am very, very much in favor of reusing, recycling, repurposing, any and all of those. And there are definitely some sections that it's easier than others. So for example, perhaps certain certifications or the educational component, or perhaps there is a very general basic one, and I'll pick one on biotech. For example, you might see like be hands-on experience in cell culture, and you can prepare something really impactful and concise on that, so that you can use that. And yeah, definitely have a Google sheet or different versions, if you are tending to stick to a type or a level of role, and they seem to be very similar, with the little caveats here and there, depending on what the company is focusing on. For example, maybe the company is more immunology focused versus, another one may be more stem cell focused, but a lot of the molecular biology or cell biology requirements are very similar. So yeah, just like you mentioned, Allison, you can, have that ready and, add those components as needed, but also having that referral documentation, would be great, as you're getting callbacks as well. But having this T-style cover letter in your hand, and that you can adjust it easily for each job will make the application process a little less time consuming, because I know that's a it is a big investment of your time, when you're searching for a new role.
Yeah, and it definitely tailor to all the different jobs, but don't recreate the wheel. And also, we all have a lot of skills and things we've done, and sometimes it's so hard to think about what those things are. It's hard to go back in your career and think like, okay, I have done this, or my education, like it did expose me to that. So the more you practice thinking about, okay, what have I done? How does that tie in? You'll come up with a really robust list, and you'll probably surprise yourself by how well suited you are for these positions. I
You're
wanted to
absolutely.
touch on another thing you said,
Mhm.
um, transferable skills. So in the Slack room, in the collaboratory Slack room, we get a lot of people who come in saying like, I am doing XYZ, but I
Mhm.
want to be doing ABC. And how do I make that switch? How do I sell myself to do that? How do I market this? And so I think that this is such an interesting concept that you could really break down. Okay, they're looking for whatever specific requirements. I don't have that exactly, but I did do something so similar in this vein. And how would that translate? I think this is a remarkable way to even, once again, prepare your own thoughts around how you would sell a potentially unique work experience to a different job.
You're absolutely right. And this and what you had mentioned about communicating those transferable skills, or even identifying it, for yourself, that you have, these transferable skills, to go into that new job, new field, new industry, new function. Having this, going through the exercise of creating this T style, cover letter can really help you, provide that, basic framework to see, yes, I know I have these, these key job duties, but how do I communicate it? So it really forces you to think about what's important, in that job or in that company, and communicate it. And, we have a lot of resources to help people do that. And that is a very common, question about how can I highlight or showcase, that I can do this job, but it's in an entirely different function. And one of the, benefits of having a cover letter in this situation, and especially T style, is that you can really show that, yeah, I might have been, working in, like say for example, someone was working in an R&D function in particular, but they really now want to get into bioinformatics. And if I saw their resume or their LinkedIn profile, I said, this person all had, jobs, and, they were a bench scientist. Why do they want to make the switch into bioinformatics, or may have a sort of mismatch in mind in terms of, is this person, right for a bioinformatics job? But then going into, crafting this letter and really showcasing that, here are some key job duties, and here are my qualifications that can match with this, or transferable skills that, I can match with it. Then someone like me, who is reviewing the resume and cover letter, or the hiring manager or other people can see very easily, like, yes, this person, though, they have an R&D background, they have developed these skills and would be, a good candidate for this new role.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned we have a lot of resources. So, that being said, what resources do we have for job seekers that we can share? You had created an example in here. Can we create a template that maybe someone could use to map out their T style cover letter?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a couple of different templates. They're slightly different, but I think having, a couple of different templates for people to use what they're most comfortable, with, or what they feel would be best for them, and their job search. We can provide those templates, as well as, also just some, advice and review in terms of, is this the right, right way to write the cover letter for this job, or these jobs that I'm applying with.
Awesome. Well, Daniela, thank you so much. To anyone watching who is interested in learning more, as always, please join us in the free Slack community. You can also join us in our accelerator community for a little bit of extra job seeking help. It's a little bit more hands-on and one-on-one, so we can tell you all about that. And we will share out some resources. And as always, thank you for spending the time with us. We appreciate it. And we'll look forward to coming back here next week for the next Ask a Recruiter.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.